Got a bit of MDF work in the workshop today, which is a little bit unusual for me. I've not used MDF in many years, so yeah, I'm not overly excited about it, but the job is actually quite exciting on the whole. I'm actually part way through this. I've been machining up these fluted channels, and I'll show you that in a bit on the CNC. They're going to display some stuff in some shops on top of them. We've got a upstand here, which is like a freestanding back that then sits on a little plinth base. I'll overlay it on the screen on SketchUp, and that's got a fluted front on it as well. And there's a little box, like a portable stand on some metal legs, which has also got a fluted front and back on it. So we've got to put all these together and get them made up. Looks pretty simple. There's always challenges with stuff like this, like how to assemble it, make the connections without seeing any of the fittings, especially in like a solid box where you sort of like can't get inside it. The last connection is either got to be some sort of hidden fixing or sort of adhesive assembly. So I've got to encounter that challenge a bit later on, but let's get cutting up some sheets. You know, the 3 days I spent setting up this saw about 4 years ago is the best investment of time I've ever had. It's so nice to chuck a sheet on there, move them stops to the exact setting you want, and it just cuts it to a perfectly square setting. If you're doing square cuts, it goes far to say there's a better saw than having it on like a horizontal panel saw on a sliding table. I think for some applications this is actually a better machine. While I'm in here cutting up these sheets for all these square bits, I've got the CNC machine in the other room there cutting out the baseboards with all the pockets in it. There's a rebate around the edge to make up this narrow edge finish to the fluting. So that's working for me while I'm in here cutting all this up. So this assembly should come together pretty quickly. So I've just basically cut this sheet out, so trimmed 5mm off what I cut on the panel saw, so I've got a lovely square board off the CNC. Took a little 6mm rebate out, because for the design it only wanted a 12mm front lip on there, but I'm using 18mm stock. And I've cut the bottom out, so you've got access in for sort of bolting the things together, and it isn't sitting on the whole pad, so with the floor missing, it's only going to sit around the edges, so it shouldn't rock if the floor's slightly uneven where the display stand is. So that's the bottom board. I've now got to cut the top one, but I can't screw that down. I've got to somehow fix that without putting any fixings through it, because the whole top is clean and painted. Oh, because I've not got a vacuum bed yet, I can't just drop it on and turn the vacuum on. So I'm just going to mark where this sheet of stock is going to land. Just draw a couple of pencil lines around it so I know the position of the corners. And the simplest way I think to do this is just to masking tape the four corners and then super glue it down to the masking tape. So make sure that's really well stuck. And then I'll do the same thing on the underside of the sheet. Dab a bit of, oh Jesus, that's way too much. Let's pick some of that up, put it over there. I've sprayed my activator on this sheet, so hopefully I can get that on before it sets. Put it in the right place, a bit pushed down. While we're here, I'll just run you quickly through setting this up so that we can machine it. It's a really simple process. So you turn the machine on, you'll need to home it, which means the head knows where it is. I've already done that. It's already tapped the tool setter. It's actually already got the right cutter in, so I just need to zero the stock against the machine. So I've put this board on now, the machine doesn't know where that is, so this little touch probe block here is going to help me do that. I'm just going to bring the head towards me. Get rid of the guard here. So bring that down, roughly the right position. And we need to connect this like sensor wire to the collet itself so that it can get an electrical connection, so that as the cutter touches this block, as soon as that connection's made, it knows where that is. And that's a calibrated block, so it tells it exactly where the corner of material is. Tap on the probing button, and I'm going to tap the top right, because that's where the cutter is on the machine. And it's touched the block there, found out where the y-axis 0 is. Now it's moving itself around the block there and going to find out where the 0 material position is for the x-axis. I actually like to turn the cutter so the flute is facing where it's going to hit here. There's a terrible bit of camera work. And the next thing is just to hover the cutter over that plate, and we press the centre probing button. It'll come down, tap the plate, and that'll give it its height of the material top surface. You can take this off, and there's a handy little storage pouch just there for that. Just keeps it nice and neat and out of the way. So that's now put the origin of the workpiece smack bang on the corner of that material and set the surface height, so the Z0 is the surface of the material. And that gives us, we can then work from that based on how we've drawn the program out in the computer. I just pulled that up, framed the camera nicely and didn't press record, but none of the glue squeezed out, and it worked really well. It's not damaged my bed, and it released quite easily. The base has got a bolt to the upright back panel with like an M12 bolt. So I've just grooved a couple of these little blocks and then line them up like so, and that's what the bolt will go through. It just gives me a lovely straight parallel hole through there. So I'm going to glue these around each other along a couple of supports, and that'll make up the front to back support inside the base, and a lovely strong bolt position that will pivot this whole rail and make it a lovely strong interaction. Not being too fussy with how these are aligned, because I'm going to finish cut them to width a bit later on. And I can just cut them to length based on these blocks. These block lengths are specific to the bolt length. I've just kept them in from the end, so I can just cross cut this end off here and cut the other end off to length to suit my thing that I'm making, and that'll give me like a perfectly dimensioned piece. If you cut all these off to finished size and then try to glue them together, you've got a bit of a nightmare, and you've got to have everything perfectly aligned. It always ends up slightly wonky, and you'll get like a hump in the finished box. Just assembling this, but I realise I've not shown you any of the fluting, so I'll put a few clips on screen now of routering some of this fluting. I'm just doing a dry assembly on these boxes, but yeah, just got a simple program on the Onefinity using VCarve. I am being sponsored by Trend for the Onefinity to the extent that the referrals that get made through the publication of these videos, I'll get a small kickback from them from any sales that are made. So I am paying for this machine, but there is a small kickback coming from advertised referrals. So if you are interested in buying a Onefinity and you can see a use for it like I can in your workshop at home, then please use my link down below. It will really help me out to earn a little bit of money through the production of these videos. I'm used to using an 8mm end mill to create a 10mm wide groove to create this fluted effect in this panel. It is leaving the panel with a bit of stress tension, so it's bending it along the length. You could go on the back of that and put some grooves to counteract that, so that's sat nice and straight. But you'd lose a little bit of the structural integrity of it. You'd just be relying on that centre MDF, which is quite weak and flexible. So I'm going to stick with it and use the box to physically hold that straight. I think it'll be more than strong enough. And then I've got these battens that I've just been making and glued up. So I've drilled 4 holes neatly because that'll be seen on the underside of the box. I'm going to fit these battens in, screw them down to the block, and then I'll screw through these battens into the top to pull that down. And with a little bit of assembly adhesive, that'll be enough to hold that box together. For the top of this box, I'm screwing into 18mm through from the base. I've got a bit of a rail here to screw through, so everything's going to be screwed from the bottom. Put a clearance hole through that rail, the same thickness as my screw at 5mm. And I'm just going to come in and put a really heavy countersink on the top side where that board meets. So the top is going to come down flush on here. I'm going to screw into it, put a countersink in here. And quite a heavy one, if that's showing up on the camera. Quite a big countersink like that. And I'll show you why with a scrap offcut. So I want my drill hole there, the clearance hole, so that the screw doesn't bite into it. So it's perfectly clear. There's no sort of a gripping of the thread within that hole, so that when it bites into the top material, it pulls it down without any resistance. That's called a clearance hole. The reason for that countersink is when I screw this bit up from underneath and screw it down tight, it's got it now, it's pulled it down nice and tight. The clearance hole, or that countersink, heavy countersink, allows them 2 bits of material to actually go really close together to each other, because when you put that screw in and it first bites in the material, I'll show you if I take it to bits. You get like some dispersion of the wood fibres, so as it's going in it pulls some of the grain as the screw attempts to make a start, and you get this like bit of raised material just around the entry hole for the screw. And the purpose of that heavy countersink is for that bit of raised stuff to sit in there. Actually allows the flat of this surface to pull tightly down to the flat of this one. You don't get a very slight hump in the 2 bits of material, so really precise lock between them when you're working to everything being exact. There we go, that's one of the boxes done, a bit of a sample. There might be quite a lot of these to make, so just trying to keep everything pretty straightforward. Got to have a black painted bottom and the rest of it is white. One of the other boxes looks like this. I'll just assemble one corner, you get the idea of what it looks like. That's what some of the other boxes look like. But I fluted front and back with a plain top and bottom, like so. They should be pretty cool, and they sit on a little set of metal legs alongside it, so just sort of like a bit of a portable display stand. And yeah, just a little bit of follow along as I make these MDF boxes. I've not worked with MDF in a very long time, so it's a bit unusual to go back to using it. Can't say I'm a massive fan of it, but it has got its place for stuff like this. In my workshop and where I trained, sort of worked with anything that came through the door. It's a very multi-skilled, it's not just solid timber and just making one thing. It's a true form of bespoke joinery where you could encounter anything coming through the workshop, which this is a good example of. And yeah, got the bit of CNC use in there as well, which is nice to sort of get that off the ground and start using it for stuff. Really, really nice to have that cutting out them bases and do it really accurately, and have all the rebate and everything done for me whilst I'm cutting up the sheet that's going to be screwed to it and works alongside it. So within an hour there, I'd got all of these components sort of assembled and ready in front of me on the bench just to screw together. So really brilliant. I'm quite enjoying it, and it's not actually taking that long to program the Vectric, sort of get up to speed on drawing stuff out and making it work. So I'm quite surprised how quick that learning process was. If you are interested in getting a machine from Trend, or even just having a demo of one, there'll be a link down below in the description that will help you get that underway, and hopefully I can earn a tiny little bit of commission off the back of it. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. No doubt we'll be doing something completely different.